Gibson's help, the Senate just passed the Take It Down Act, and this is so important.
At President Trump, they're highlighting the fight against AI deepfakes. Elliston Berry, just 14 years old, when one of her classmates used an AI app to attach a nude body to an Instagram photo of her, sharing it across social media. And despite her efforts to report this, the photo stayed up, only taken down after Senator Ted Cruz heard about her story and personally reached out to Snapchat. Well, now the teen, along with Senator Cruz and First Lady Melania Trump, are teaming up to pass the Take It Down Act. The legislation, which already unanimously passed the Senate, criminalizes the spread of sexually exploitive, non-consensual images, including AI deepfakes, requiring platforms to remove reported content within 48 hours. And this issue has become a focal point for Susanna Gibson. She was running for office in Virginia in 2023 when an article by the Washington Post revealed Gibson had previously been captured in a recording of a live stream performing sex acts with her husband. The Post received that video from an opposing political operative. Earlier tonight, I spoke with Susanna Gibson. She has since formed the My Own Image nonprofit, focusing on stopping the non-consensual distribution of intimate images, including AI deepfakes. Here's our conversation. What did it feel like to be the target of something like this?
I mean, it's absolutely devastating and horrific. These are crimes of sexual violence, and they really need to be treated as such. And quite frankly, I'm thrilled about the recent momentum and attention that the Take It Down Act is getting. I think it signals a true bipartisan commitment to passing legislation addressing these harms.
Yeah, talk to us more about the Take It Down Act, the bill now waiting on a vote from the House. Are you expecting this to make it to the president's desk?
I am. At the end of 2023, actually last December, it had passed both the House and the Senate, and had been included in the omnibus bill, but unfortunately was taken out of that budget at the last minute, I think at the request of Elon Musk.
Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so I think a lot of us in the survivor community were super excited last December to see Take It Down kind of go through. A lot of people are paying attention to the difference that this bill has compared to the SHIELD Act, which is Senator Amy Klobuchar's act. The Take It Down Act has a provision that would require platforms to remove non-consensual intimate images within 48 hours of being notified of them.
There are some critics of the legislation, some now picking apart this comment in particular by the president, saying he would use the potential law on himself. Let's take a listen.
To criminalize the publication of such images online is a terrible, terrible thing. And I'm going to use that bill for myself, too, if you don't mind. Because nobody gets treated worse than I do online. Nobody.
Okay, so he's clearly joking there, but are there real concerns that this could be manipulated in some way to take down lawful content that people simply don't like? Are you concerned?
Yeah, there are. It's being criticized as being overly broad, the kind of making it difficult for platforms and for individuals to understand what the requirements are, what is prohibited. And there's a real risk that these provisions could be weaponized by a corrupt administration instead of actually serving protecting victims.
Yeah, what would that look like? What would the concern in action? What is the scenario that you're referring to?
Yeah, I think, when you're requiring, there's a section, so Section 230 of the 1996 Communications Decency Act currently prohibits platforms from being held accountable for content that their users post. So it's going to be interesting to watch when the Take It Down Act passes, how that actually holds up in a court. There's some First Amendment concerns that First Amendment scholars have brought up. And I think we all know that Trump is going to use whatever he can to help himself. He's proven that he's done that countless numbers of times already.
There are unfortunately too many stories like yours and Elliston Berry's. Do you have a message for women and girls who are concerned that this might happen to them?
Yeah, I think there's a real momentum, as I said earlier, and I'm feeling incredibly hopeful. I think, these are crimes of sexual violence that have devastating consequences on the survivors. I think we've talked about, 90% of victims have severe mental health harms, including PTSD, anxiety, depression. 50% contemplate side. It's absolutely horrific. And to see the acknowledgement of the damage that these crimes can do, and to see the acknowledgement by influential people like Melania Trump holding a roundtable with survivors in a coalition of mine, there seems to be like a real shining and glimmer of hope for us. I think the one message I really want to hammer home, though, is that I'm concerned that Take It Down is actually not going to be the shining beacon of hope that people are making it out to be. Federal legislation, federal prosecutors are likely not going to use this tool, except for in the most egregious of cases. And so it really is still going to come down to and be incumbent upon state legislatures, attorney general's offices, and local prosecutors to hold people accountable.
Okay. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.